Good evening, everyone. This is Mayor Shave. It's Wednesday, July 12th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. And I call the Aberdeen City Council meeting to order. First item is roll call.
Ellis? Here. Francie?
Here.
Aiken?
Here.
Catchman?
Here.
Lawrence?
Here.
Mackey?
Here.
Morrison?
Here.
Caricini?
Here.
Ross?
Here.
Shaw? Here. Seedor?
Here.
And Mr. Taylor is absent this evening.
I move we excuse Councilmember Taylor, who's traveling tonight.
Second. Do I second?
So motion was made, seconded to excuse Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Betty Worth, would you lead us in the flag salute?
And then we'll do a little bit of boot scoot. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
liberty and justice.
Agenda approval.
So we have a couple actually changes with the agenda tonight. So first of all, council received the downtown vacant building ordinance with the revisions that were previously made by council. So the correct copy is on your desk, and we'll use that copy for tonight's reading. And then also we wanted to add a discussion item regarding fireworks that'll be led by Councilmember Seedor as a special agenda item. So I move that we approve the agenda with those additions.
Okay, motion was made and seconded to approve the agenda item as proposed. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to public comments. Anyone from the public want to make comment? Come up to the podium, please. 3 minutes. State your name and where you live.
My name is Deb Wilson. I'm the president of the Land Tenants Association in Aberdeen, Ward 1. Our thanks to the mayor and city council members for considering our ordinance request. First, I'd like to say the Tenants Association is here representing many of the residents of Leisure Manor, those without transportation, those bedridden, and those who cannot get here to show their support for the ordinance in person or via Zoom. Many don't know how or don't have the means to Zoom. Second, I'd like to address the handicap parking question within the park. Because Hearst has an office at the clubhouse, and because it's open to the public for potential residents, the ADA rules should apply to the park. I'm sure you've seen the Medicare advertisements on television and the numerous commercials for medications. In our park, senior citizens are facing these complex decisions in addition to daily pain, money for food, transportation, medical care, medications, and loneliness, mobility and memory loss situations, being on fixed income, little or no family support. There is no cash for new rental deposits and no cash to relocate our, what is likely now probably an unmovable forever home. Now, we were hoping for 180 days notice when there was a rent increase, but we're happy to accept any additional extra time. When we realize we can't afford to live in our forever home any longer due to economic eviction, we must find a new affordable home and sell our forever home, Section 8 has approximately 2 to 3 year waiting list. So finding new residents will take time and will be difficult. We must pack and or get rid of many years of memories, household items, and furniture. Remember, these bodies are not the bodies of our youth, and just thinking about this will be overwhelming and physically draining. With the added worry of housing and how we will avoid becoming one of the unsheltered, this small amount of extra time that may seem meaningless to all of you, and the maximum fine rate for late rent at 1.5% of the monthly rent may make a huge difference to senior citizens today. Thank you for considering all aspects of this ordinance. We absolutely support it, and we need you to support it too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Gosh, I can hardly see over the podium. It's so short. You should have a little bench here. Okay, my name is Lynette Maria Taylor. I have lived at Boulevard Mobile Home Park for almost 27 years. I've gone through numerous owners. And the newest owner, which is Susan Rogers, her husband, Brad Rogers, I guess he calls himself a park manager, a property manager. Okay, one of the things that is bad in our park is we used to have many of the Hispanic people in our park. It was a very good community. He has had many of them move out because of his prejudice things. He has people, he's 3 people that I know of has moved because one of the people he has helping at the park has gone and called them vile names, so they've left. Last September, he raised our rent $150. This September, he has sent around a notice again that he's raising it $35 in the notice, and each time he raises a rent is the same thing. He says it has to do with materials and labor, though in the 7.5 years, he has done absolutely nothing to the park. If you drive by it over on Curtis Street, you will see that the fence has been knocked down. There are places where there is no fence. There are places where he had me put tires. I used to be the manager there, but because I would not do illegal things that he asked to do, I was let go. And he has someone that will do things without permits. We have not had a new lease since 2017. One of the things that they talk about is the late fees. Well, if you do not pay your rent by the 1st, you have a $60 late fee. He also gives out notices which says, number 1, your area is dirty. Number 2, you have too many cars. Number 3, the same person has been late for rent. So what he does is he goes and he charges $90 for each of these notices to be sent out. If you have 3 violations, what he'll do is one day he'll send 1 violation, that's $90. The next day he'll bring you another one, that's another $90. And the next time, another $90. Many of these people do not even understand English, and yet he has not made accommodations for them. I'm here so that hopefully there could be, I guess, an ordinance to help us there, because there's no way that these people who are on, many of us are like myself on fixed incomes, many of them are Hispanics who are out there working in the fields and in the forest to make these outrageous rent that he has done. And so I'm here to support whatever can help us so that hopefully they can't do it anymore. I know that I've called Matt at here, who is head of, I think it's, well, I can't remember right now, but they won't even go into the park. They say that there are so many bad violations in the park that it would be outrageous. And so I'm here and hoping that something can be done so that as residents, we have a leg to stand on
Thank you.
and aren't forced.
That was time.
So, okay,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you for listening to me.
Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Delbert Seidel. I Ward 2, I think is what my ward is. Here to address or ask a question about the ordinance on people living in their vehicles in people's yards or residence yards. Or we're getting inundated in our neighborhood there with people living in school buses, box vans like the city uses for their work employment. I went to code enforcement. They said basically that there's nothing they can do because it's not an RV that they're living in. You have an ordinance against RV people staying more than 20 days in their yard, someone's yard. They're hooking up the power in these houses. I spoke with Bill Cedar and his specialist today. Basically, they told me there was nothing they were able to do. I asked them what code. I know there's a code under which you can only stay 20 days in an RV in your yard. He said because it's not an RV, it's not required in trailer or an RV. It's a personal vehicle, and there's nothing they can do. I find that kind of odd because people make anything into an RV, school buses, all kinds of different things nowadays, and so that was kind of my comment or question. An ordinance there, or what is the ordinance that you guys police that under? Does anybody have an idea on that?
This is actually the time for public comment, but if you want, after the meeting or just to get a hold of me and I can walk through that with you.
That was my public comment. Just a quick deal on what the last lady was talking about, that trailer park owner that we live right on the Southwest Boulevard down below, and he's actually renting to a trailer on the city street, runs a cord across the sidewalk, and he's renting to someone there, actually on the city street, which is really interesting. We've seen it for about 3 months now.
Give the address
That's
of
the
where
best
he's talking about.
What was that address? Where you're talking that is?
Ours is 216 West Curtis.
Thank you.
Next to KFC is.
Yeah, the trailer park we're talking about is KNC.
It's on Hazel Trailer Court. I don't know the address.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Bill Hardy. I'm a resident of Ward 1 and a resident for the last 15 years of Leisure Manor Mobile Home Park. I am delighted to see one of the other mobile home park people come to our presentation tonight because this is the ordinances we're working on are going to affect you. I realize that we're a much larger park, but these things affect people throughout the city. I really appreciate your support. How many people from Leisure Manor are here? Show of hands. Do a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see at least 11, well, 12 if you count me tonight. We had about the same number 2 weeks ago on the first reading. And so this is an important ordinance. We're appreciating that you have gotten together and put it on the agenda, and we will have more comments during the public hearing later in this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Council President Catchman.
Yes, tonight's consent agenda includes our minutes from the June 14th, 2023 meeting, accounts payable, payroll, and the homeless report for the month of June, which includes $19,000 in expenses. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion was made, seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
I have a question. Are the minutes from the June 12th meeting, what about the June 28th meeting?
It's, it should be the June 12th. It says 26th on there. So they're included in the.
They are
Yeah,
included,
they're right
it
there.
just isn't listed here. Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. Next item is presentations, Downtown Aberdeen Association Annual Summary.
Did I pull the screen down?
Oh,
Nope, it's right, it'll be
right over there?
right over there, yeah. This is way back.
Are we able to see this?
I don't have a presentation.
Okay.
Did you send it in ahead of time?
If you share the
It's
agenda,
in
it was
the
in the
agenda.
packet. In addition to the packet. No.
There it is.
Page 10 of our, or 9 of our agenda packet.
vacations, it's summertime. Always gotta
And
have,
those not knowing what they're doing, that'd be me.
There we go.
that looks like it.
I'm supposed to get, the camera is already.
Yep. So does that work?
It gives them something to look at instead of going through. Just you can share
Okay.
this with the screen, you can share this on Zoom. Sharing your screen.
Where did it all go? And then how do I just go like that?
I need to get some kind of music for times like this.
If you're asking for a song,
You're up, ready, go.
we're up.
Sorry.
Right. What's doing downtown? A phrase coined by Sam Bin, the founding father of Aberdeen. Even as early as the 1880s, there was interest in improving the quality of life in the downtown corridor. There have been many groups, ABCs, Aberdeen Revitalization, that have also taken interest in the downtown as well. In 2018, the Downtown Aberdeen Association was created, and thanks to the partnership we have with the city, we continue to activate the downtown district through art, music, and creative engagements woven into tourism and commerce projects, activities, and events, promoting a sense of place and increased support towards the downtown community by having visitors and area residents make Aberdeen a preferred destination to spend time. My name is Betty Worth, and I, along with Bobby McCracken, we chair the promotions. Oh, we're in fight. The dog and pony show has just begun. These things listed on the screen are the areas that Downtown Aberdeen Association focuses on: promotion, design, economic vitality, outreach, arts and music, and tours. Good evening, my name is Betty Worth, and along with Bobby McCracken, we chair the promotions committee. With the help of the rest of the board and many volunteers, we could put on the events that I'm going to mention to ultimately bring people downtown. Promotion's goal is to market the district's unique characteristics to shoppers, investors, new businesses, and visitors. This is done through advertising, retail promotional activity, special events, and marketing campaigns carried out by our volunteers. The following are just a few examples to encourage downtown activity. We would feature local downtown businesses monthly on Facebook. There were monthly competitions to encourage people to visit businesses like I Heart Aberdeen in February, filling out Valentine's. Are You Feeling Lucky, locating shamrocks in March. And for Easter, guess the number of candies in a container. In each games, by participating, people would be eligible for prizes. A few other things promotions is responsible for is working with Lisa Scott from the city to develop a welcome packet for new businesses coming to the community. Events like Summerfest, Winterfest, Spooktacular have drawn people downtown. Over the last 4 years, these events have grown as we add new activities: the barbecue cook-off, music groups, the gingerbread house contest, and car shows. Our sole purpose is to provide a fun family atmosphere and encourage people to visit downtown businesses. We are grateful for our sponsors over the years to make these events affordable to the participants. Other things DAA is involved in is the 98520 Roundtable, a monthly meeting upstairs at the Aberdeen Police Department for business owners, community leaders, and elected officials interested in the community. They come together and share what's happening with their business and other things happening that may affect downtown. Through grants, we've been able to purchase lighting for over 50 downtown trees to help decorate during the holidays, and the Downtown Beautification Flower Program, where 150 aggregate pots and 150 hanging baskets are maintained. Another partnership with the city that screams, we are proud of our community. Stop and visit and see what's doing downtown. So you have a handout that shows our own app. So I'd love if you could check that out. So districts is part of our Main Street. Because we're a certified Main Street community, we're able to take advantage of this app. It is a national Main Street network. Any Main Street across the nation has the opportunity to become a part of this. So if you're traveling, the app may be available to help you find places to eat, sleep, and play. The flyer you have explains the app and how to download it to your phones by using the QR code or through the App Store or Google Play. Also, you have a map that shows on there the red pins or how many downloads that we have already. And you can see they go all the way up the corridor, up to Whidbey Island. So people, not just in Aberdeen, are seeing our app and seeing what we have to offer. Once you're in the app, you'll see how many options there are to dine, sip, shop, and play in Aberdeen. The businesses that are in color have already claimed their entry and have added their information. The grayed out businesses have not claimed it yet. It will take more personal contact with business owners to complete that portion. The city of Aberdeen is listed under the Play tab,
And many of the city parks are listed under the attractions tab, as well as other fun things to do. A nice feature that you may have on the app is to call businesses directly or go directly to their webpage, social media, etc. A fun part of this is called an Apptivity. We will be launching our own Apptivity at Summerfest, a mobile scavenger hunt. People will register at our main tent, and then with some directions, because this is a new concept, then head out to follow the clues and be entered to win prizes. It's a digital scavenger hunt on your phone, and it'll be, when you get within 20 feet of a building, it'll light up and you'll get the clues, a video clue from a couple of girls. We'll have the scavenger hunt that day for prizes, but we're gonna leave it up for a couple weeks afterwards, so the community or anybody, if you're sitting at MOV or Steam Donkey and you wanna go on a scavenger hunt, it'll be available just to go do for fun. We are very excited about the potential of this app for our community as well as for people traveling through Aberdeen. If you have any questions or wish to see the app, please let us know. Thank you.
Hi folks, I'm Kathy Williams and I chair the design committee. Design is about enhancing the look and the feel of our downtown. It includes things like historic preservation, street and alley cleanup, landscaping, signage, lighting. The focus on that is to really improve the physical image of our downtown. We've got a lot of projects underway. One is alley cameras. We wanted to support the city in their efforts, and downtown Aberdeen has set aside $5,000 towards purchasing cameras. The next one is banners. A few years ago, when they took down the beautiful summer baskets, it felt kind of gray and, dead downtown. So we thought we need something in those winter months, something with a pop of color and some happiness and life. So we did some work, and with the help of Grace Harbor Community Foundation, we've purchased 45 fall and 45 winter banners to give that feeling of life and a little bit of color downtown. The next project we worked on is the Stan Foreman Way. Before this started, I had no idea who that was. I know, and I've only lived here for 25 years. I don't know. If you don't know, if there's anybody else out there, he was a Harbor native that was part of a national promotion team at Capitol Records, and he was a big deal in the music world. I love things like that, for tourists that are coming in to learn about the people from this area, and for maybe some of us who have lived here for a long time to learn about this area. Our next project is a reader board or a display board. We're collaborating with the city and have talked already to a couple possible funders. We're in the research and planning phase, and with a lot of help from Ruth and Stacy. This is a big project, and like all big projects, it's going to take a lot of work and some time. The next project that we're working on is a tree replacement. We're helping and supporting the city as they do some grant writing. Our job was to find out as much information and kind of come up with a plan for that. When we first started, we come into Aberdeen and there's all those empty spots along the sidewalk that there should be a tree, but there isn't. We thought, well, we'll just dig a hole and then we'll put a tree in and we're done, right? No, it's a lot more than that. It took a ton of research. And now we're at the stage where we're ready to collaborate with the City Parks Department when the grant comes open, and I believe that is in August. The electrical upgrades, we got some funding from Grace Harbor Community Foundation for this project as well. They gave us $15,000 that we were able to work on the electrical infrastructure. They did a lot of repairs and replacements. They put locking caps to protect the outlets and to give us the opportunity, like when they spoke about the holiday lighting, now we can expand those programs of that infrastructure. And the last project we have in the works is called a billy goat. If you took a lawnmower and a shop vac and combined them, that's a billy goat. It's something that you could drive down the streets or the alleys or the sidewalks, and it sucks up small debris. It works great on wet ground, which we think will be real helpful for us. And we're really looking to support the city as we can, and hopefully this will help the Public Works Department. I know they're working so hard trying to keep our city streets clean. Oh, and this was great. Today, someone suggested that when Aberdeen gets their Billy Goat, we give it a little bit of an Aberdeen twist and just call it the Billy Ghoul.
Nice.
I don't know if Derek's on Zoom right now, but just a quick comment on the tree thing. You know, we're never going to have a lot of trees downtown because we're a timber town. Derek, are you on the Zoom? Okay. Well, I sort of know a little bit about this. So historic tax credit, we've been working on that for quite a while. Got a law here. We had it passed in I think it was finally reached the amendment of the law in 2020. And what it would do is take old buildings that we have downtown, especially after we do the North Shore levee here and about the diking. And so these old buildings that fell into the FEMA 10 rule where you couldn't do much to them without having to mitigate the water and raise them and all that stuff. What this would do in addition to that would be if you want to preserve a historic building, it's not just downtown, also help Hoquiam and 9 other cities or so across the state. But it would then allow the owner of that building to get not only 10 years of tax credits, but they could, in our town, get up to 24, and Lisa would manage that. So it's we've had one building owner take advantage of it, and how it works really briefly is that as you reach your first 10 years, you would come back to the city and say, hey, I've done all these improvements, and I don't have any tenants, and I'm still hurting, but I put my money out there. So Lisa would meet with the preservation team, like Doug or and other people in here, and then they would decide, okay, we can give you another 7 years, and then we can get another 7 years after that. So I got to tell you, that was great testifying, and it was it's a real win for us. We do sunset that. It'll be 10 years. I think it's in 2030, right? So what that means, if you own a building out there, get on it. We want to see our beautiful buildings get preserved where they can. Oh, everyone in this country's heard me talk about copper theft mitigation. So basically, we've had and endured and continue to have copper thieving. Like I mean, honestly, I can tell you horror stories. If you want to listen to them, I'll buy you a beer and we can talk for maybe 4 or 5 hours. But to go sell $1 worth of copper, we're losing thousands of dollars in that building's damages, as well as indirect time from the city, the police, and fire, and my God, on up. And there's people in this town that are really putting money in the buildings and are very worried about the building next to them catching on fire from all this stuff. The other thing is walking in these black buildings are not black because they're dark inside. There's all the power's gone. Then, you're bumping into other people, and it's not a good thing. I got some stories there too by Niederville. All right, so we will support that levee project all the way we can. If there's any council members that have any disagreement about that, I'll buy you a beer, and we'll talk about that too, because that's a big deal for us. In economics, we also have a subcommittee about the arts, and I'll talk about that on another slide. We do want to see the City Arts Commission come up and maybe happen. If I can possibly help in that, I probably will. We also do a lot of business support. So let me just say this. In addition to what you're seeing on here, this is a snapshot. This is 30-some pages of all the other stuff that we do. And so I think, we couldn't do this without these volunteers behind us and around the room. And I'm going to go into that in a minute. Next slide, Lisa. Oh, are you there, Derek?
Yep.
Sorry, I was having some difficulties. I'm driving right now.
I might have stole your thunder.
A little bit. I would have done it a little bit better, but that's fine. You did great. I'm Derek. Kathy and I kind of work in tandem with the design and economic vitality committees. So yeah, he pretty much covered everything, but I mean, even though he covered everything, it still doesn't do justice to all the overall economic work that we do in the area, the partnerships that we make, the people that we have conversations with, and then the businesses that we recruit to come to the area. So yeah, that he summed up everything. But if anybody has any additional questions, I know we have a very limited amount of time here. I'm happy to sit down, have a cup of coffee with somebody at a local business in Aberdeen, of course, and give any more info that anybody wants.
And of course, have a beer in a downtown business. I mean, very clear. Okay, next slide. We're gonna wrap this up in a minute. I know you guys got other things to do. So Experience Aberdeen. Experience Aberdeen is the top of my heart. It really has to do with changing the narrative about who we are and changing some culture here. So I met a man who came from California that had a lot of reviews on Aberdeen, and he brought them to me and said, "Is this true?" Raise your hand out there, Chuck. So he goes, "How do we change the narrative?" He goes, "Well, what you need to do, yada, yada, yada." I did it. And then I started getting calls from around the country and people that had businesses and people that wanted to move here. You can blame some of that on me. And even in other languages, thank you for ChatGPT. Is that what it's called? Anyway, so I want to say that what we're trying to do, Experience Aberdeen, is that it's going to be, if one or two people have been able to get attention around the world, what would happen if we had a team of 7? So Chuck is going to help us, and we're going to meet monthly. I will buy really a drink, whether it's coffee, so whatever you want. And we're going to sit down and we're going to learn how to get online and change and edit out the people that have nothing better to do but to tell the world that this town sucks, because it used to suck. It doesn't suck anymore. And what did suck, we're selling on tours, and I'll get right back to that. So Shop Local campaign. So we have ads on several a lot of radio stations, but I think we're about 1,500 ads a month. And so it's all about bringing, connecting us to our businesses downtown. Visitor information. We are not a visitor center, but the amount of people that call, and I'm sure my wife's on Zoom right now, and she can tell you how many times we were somewhere, and a lady calls and they're coming to Aberdeen, they want to know where they can buy this, where their grandparent or where their kids can get a beach ball to go to the beach or other things. And I feel like I have to take all those calls and talk to each of those people. In addition, we get calls from, we've had 3 books being written right now that they've called, a magazine, Mixed Magazine just called, the Bike Club, thank you, Ruth and Mir. I mean, I've been working with them on the bike stuff. And there's a lot of other things that happen. I got a call from Carnegie Hall from an actor who I'm not allowed to talk about, and we set him up here in town. No one knew it, and he did a concert at the prison. And it was wonderful. He wanted to give back. So somebody needs to answer those phone calls, and I don't know how my name's on it. I have a little list of all the things that they asked me, but we'll move on. All right, volunteer development. So it's really important to us that when you're a volunteer in the Downtown Aberdeen Association, you're an ambassador to the city. We want to value your time, and we want you to be able to walk out, whoever you meet, and brag about Aberdeen. So if that's you, and you think, I got something that I'd like to spend some time and get to know what's going on downtown, then please, let's get together and let's talk about it, because there's so much going on here that's good, and we certainly owe it to our youth. All right, last on that, we're going to talk about subcommittee on tours, because that's the next slide. No, it's not. So this is part of the economics, and so here's some of the things we're doing. It took us 4.5 years to buy that Nirvana art asset. I have signed papers, not to talk too much about it anymore. Some of you have seen it in the paper. It has become priceless. We have transferred it to a Nirvana trust. It will eventually show up in our town, and it will be made available to the public. We get calls from all over the world about that. So if you know what it is, you know what it is. All right, listen up, Aberdeen. I know you guys, thank you very much for trusting us with this project. We have raised the money for the pilot project now. We actually had a meeting with Sumner. We had to put it off. They're doing construction, and we're going to work on that more. But that will be about putting some music downtown and some speakers, and we will be careful about it. It's not just music. I think we should have children's stories. I think we should have other things on it too. And it will not be 24/7. It will be once in a while at the best times. Right? Okay, trust us. Aberdeen birthday song. I need all of you involved in that. We are going to create a song when it's your birthday in Aberdeen, or you're a tourist, you come downtown, and there will be a virtual spot in that district app. See the back of my shirt? And this town will sing you happy birthday. and it's going to be one flamboyant, wonderful song. We also now have recruited, Doug, you know, like this. We have a lot of Hispanics living in our town, and we're going to do it in Spanish too. So, does that help? Habla Español? Okay. So, creative districts, we're working on that, doing consultation. I just attended another conference on that. Do you know that I'm a film liaison? Well, we have a lot of films here. We just wrapped up a documentary yesterday, didn't we, Bobby? It's an amazing part of how we sell Aberdeen. So we have a film wrapping up right now. We've had some from Australia. We've had, of course, documentaries. We've had a lot of those kind of things. But Filmworks Washington's connected with me, and we're going to develop this out further because we think that we can have more even catalog shoots, commercials, and other magazine shoots here in our town. Because while some people look at Aberdeen and go, oh my God, the film industry looks at it and goes, oh my God. So to that end, we have worked with a company that does location shooting over in LA. They are now renting a spot in our building and moving in. And so they will help us be able to land more. If you want to be in the film industry as an extra, a gaffer, all these kinds of things, talk to me because we're going to get films if we have a crew, right? And if you think it's easy, well, you'll find out. So we are working on a studio space, and it is going good. I know, run out. Pop-ups, you can talk about that later, Russ. Okay, next one. Tours. All right, so this is a big deal. I just want to say, so we have a tour this Saturday, and how many people signed up, Phil? 57. So if you guys think Aberdeen has nothing good about it, you ask these people. I want to just tell you something. So on Nirvana, I was part of one of those tours, and I met a man from Chile. He saved his money for 5 years to come here, just to walk down that street and visit the park. And using the app, the mayor was with me, and we were able to, okay, no story. Anyway, be careful of what we're putting online. Be careful of what we're saying. There's people out there around the world begging to come here. You may take this town for granted, but I, for one, don't. Right? So I just want to tell you, this is a beautiful thing. Virtual tours, they will be on the app. We've been interviewing some people that are part of Nirvana. If you want to know who they are, you got to get the app. You got to figure out the tour. That will happen in time. Is there any more slides? I think so. We're going to wrap it up here. Here's the value of downtown. Since we've been doing Main Street, we've been able to take money that we've been able to raise and put it back into our downtown. Actual dollars now, as of a couple of days ago, was $270,000. And in volunteer benefits, the state calculates our hours. So we have given the city in labor 400,322 volunteers should be celebrating. That's a fantastic thing. All right, there's other ways we do value too, guys. From your social media on up. Thank you. That's for the volunteers. I hope people on Zoom can hear that. Next slide. All right, you want to stay in touch? We got things for you. There's a lot of ways to do it. And we are going to start working on this 9852.org. It's up now, but we're going to do a much better job because we got so many tourists looking at that. It isn't really selling what we need to sell. So raise money, make a better website. And the last thing, guess what it is? That. If you're on Zoom, take a picture of that right now because that's how we sell Aberdeen. Thank you very much. I mean, we do have a serious job, but in our core mission, it's about having fun, and I hope you got a little sense of that today. Thank you very much.
And I know the app works. Bill and I were under the bridge trying to get inspired by a big sturgeon that was swimming around out there. And a couple showed up that had never been to Aberdeen before from Olympia area. And we showed them the app. And then later on that afternoon, when we were downtown having coffee, we ran into that couple again, and they were using that app to look around downtown, and they found a restaurant off that app that they wanted to go to. So it works. Next item I have is I wanted to report that I've been getting a lot of questions about it. The project that's going on across the South Side Bridge. Everybody's been wondering what that is.
Yeah.
Well, what it is there's the Washington State Department of Transportation is putting in a new signal system there. And they're gonna put crosswalks in to make it safer to cross the streets there. And that's all that's happening. It's just requiring a complete new system. And so they've dug up the ground there a bit and putting in the electrics parts of it and so forth. So that's all it is. That's what's happening over there. And that's all I have. Any council reports tonight?
A real quick comment. I took the opportunity to meet with the director and manager over at the Juvenile Detention Center in Junction City. I hadn't been out there before, and a couple weeks ago I went out there. They took me through the facility, and it was really eye-opening. I learned a lot. It was good to know, that aspect of our community, what they're doing, how they do what they do.
That was a good tour. Well, how many youth were in the place when you were there?
Well, they didn't take me back to where they were actually being held, but I think they said at that point they had about 20.
Oh, wow. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, anything else from the council? Any council report?
Casey.
Oh, Casey.
Hi, I just wanted to add one thing onto what you were talking about. As everybody knows, when you cross the bridge over there, that far right lane is always a green. We need to be very mindful moving forward because that's not going to be the case anymore. And I know that's been years and years and years. It's just habit, so just keep that in mind.
Good point, thank you.
Oh, and I have one more thing. I just wanted to thank the Downtown Aberdeen Association. Your guys' love for our city is inspiring and infectious. So great work. It is.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll move on to staff reports. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. We have begun our talks on budget. Tara Dunford, our accounting consultant, came last week and visited with us, and she sat down with the directors and I to just create the schedule that we'll be discussing later. So just wanted to put that. And lastly, I received a phone call about kind of an ongoing problem with the halfway houses here in Aberdeen, and there's new legislation that came out earlier this year in January. They now have a regulatory agency that's overseeing the certification process. So I will be working with this group. We're putting a work group together that's going to start addressing this particular issue and getting the halfway houses here in Aberdeen certified and under an umbrella of a set of rules and requirements. So I just wanted to let you know one of the things that I'm working on currently. So. All right, if you have any questions, my report is in the agenda packet. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now or later.
Okay, thank you. Anything from the directors?
Me, Stacy can go.
Parks Director Barnum.
Oh. What do I have to do? Okay, Stacy, what do I have to do? Well, you did it.
All right, I have 2 items on the agenda tonight. It's recommended that the City Council assess the listed items into the museum collection. The second item on the agenda is that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign the lease extension with Jim and Barb McCullough. The Parks Department offices are currently located across the street at 100 South I Street. We moved over there when additional staff were hired and there weren't any more office space left available at City Hall. Made sense for the Parks Department to move across the street because the other departments work so closely together, and the finance department, of course, needs to stay on the first floor. I'm bringing this to you early Because if for some reason you did not approve the lease extension, we need 5 months to figure out where we're gonna go, because there aren't any offices here at City Hall. Upcoming request, at the next city council meeting, I will be bringing 2 agreements to you. I've talked a little bit over the last year about conversations that the Parks Department has been having with Grace Harbor College about an agreement to revisit using that field. In the 80s and 90s, the city and Grace Harbor College had an interlocal agreement where the Parks Department maintained the field, which was mowing, weed whacking, and making sure that the field was safe. In return, our community teams were able to use that field. We're revisiting that conversation, and the college is excited about that partnership. I started that conversation when we started building the dog park at Garley Park. At Garley Park, we displaced an area that was used by our local soccer teams and also by our local baseball teams. So this could replace a field for soccer, also the addition of a softball field, and then a baseball field. And that would be available to all of our youth teams in our community to use. The second part of the agreement would be an agreement regarding the remodel. The field is in pretty poor condition right now. It needs quite a bit of work. The college was able to secure about $70,000 through their foundation to pay for the improvements, and the city would provide the labor. That would include mowing and weed whacking, grading the fields, cutting out the new softball field, cleaning up the existing baseball field, and just making it safe and actually better than it probably was before with the $70,000 that they got, so that we have a community field. Of course, their college teams would use that field as well. Within this agreement that will be brought to you, it does allow our youth teams some of the best times to use the field, which is Monday through Friday after 5:30. So that's the highest demand for our youth teams. This was brought to the park board, and they have already approved the agreement. So this will come from myself and the park board at the next meeting. And last, just a reminder that tomorrow night at 5:30 at Pioneer Park at the Little League Field, we'll have the Little League Field remodel celebration, and everybody is invited. It's open to the community, so we hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to add, Stacy, that a third of the population here in Aberdeen are our youth, and our youth sports are absolutely full all the time, and we sometimes have to double up on practice schedules, and we have children who are begin their practice times at 8 p.m. So field space is absolutely necessary for our youth sports, which is a really good thing for our community, to have our young people active and busy and engaged in positive things. I think long-term that could definitely help our community. So thank you, Stacy, for your work on that.
Well, I 100% agree with Ruth.
Thank you. Any other directors' reports?
I actually have something.
Okay.
So every year I try to do this, and I'm a little, I guess, either early or late, depending upon how you look at it, but it is election time, and this is just a friendly reminder about election and campaign signs. The city has had a policy for many years that we ask people to not put any campaign signs on city properties, nor any right-of-ways abutting city properties, and any other right-of-ways you need to make sure to get the adjacent property owner's permission before you put signs up. Just a friendly reminder, so if you are out and about and you realize, oh, I'm missing some signs, call City Hall, check with us. We've likely picked them up, and we have them at City Hall downstairs, so just give us a holler and you guys can pick your signs up. But just a friendly reminder to do that. And then also on one of the agenda items for tonight, for the vacant building, council thus far has had 2 recommended changes, which are, you have copies of those changes on the ordinance. It's italicized, bolded, and underlined. So there was 2 changes, so it is in there. So I just wanted to
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other directors report? Seeing none? Move on to request for council action, beginning with the Finance Committee, report by Finance Chair, Councilmember Perrotini.
Okay, we have a request from Finance and the Parks and Recreation Director recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign the lease extension with Jim and Barbara McCullough for 100 South High Street. I move that we accept this.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this report. Is there any discussion? Under discussion, Councilmember Shaw.
I wasn't able to read the scan that went out with the agenda, but I'm hoping that we can postpone this until we have one of the meetings that City Administrator Clemens is talking about, because maybe we don't think we need a whole other year there, and maybe there are some other options. Maybe we want to go month to month. It seems like we have a lease, we have the right, if I understood it right, we have the right under the current lease to extend it for a year, but what are some of our other options if we choose to do something different? I don't feel like it's a yes or no question at this point.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
The city's invested about $5,000 in getting that space hooked up to the internet in a secure manner. And it certainly has location, it's convenient to City Hall for staff to get to meetings and conduct other business. What we're being asked to do is approve a few more, just an extension that covers their being able to stay there until the museum space is ready. Moving comes with its own cost. I think it's a great space and the price is reasonable, and I plan to support the request tonight.
Okay. Any other? Councilmember Cedar?
I think Councilmember Catchman was next.
You could go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to echo what Councilmember Ellis said. I think the overall cost or expense of the city, the additional amount that it's increasing is nominal. There would be a substantial additional cost if we tried to move or find other space and a convenience location. I just echo what Councilmember Ellis said. Thank you.
I also agree. I think that the rent amount is very reasonable and the location is great. I've been to several meetings there and it works very well. I think there's opportunity to place more people there if we needed to. And since it's a 1-year extension, if it was a priority to find something else, it would allow us the time to appropriately do that.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And actually, thank you for mentioning the IT connection. We have to provide fiber to these buildings, and this building it did cost $10,000 to connect the city's fiber in order to provide secure internet access and server access to that building. We also currently don't have any room here at City Hall. We really have outgrown the space, and so yeah, so this is yeah, I think that's all I have. So I have to make them now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Moving on to public safety, chair report by Councilmember Ross.
Thank you, Mayor. So we met this evening at 6 o'clock, and I have two brief reports from the chiefs, beginning with the fire department. The call statistics for the month of June were 500 incidents, bringing us to year-to-date to 3,072, which is on track for last year's numbers. The homeless response data, there was 40 EMS responses, 16 fire responses. We did put a cost value on that based on state numbers. At $4,248.34. The overdose response data from June was 25 incidents, bringing the year-to-date total to 109. And There was a question about fireworks-related responses. There was 0 EMS responses this year. There were 5 fire responses this year. And also, the fire department has started their high school summer program. It started on July 10th. It runs for 2 weeks. There are 9 students who are participating from area high schools. We're very excited about this new program and hope, looking forward to a report at the next council meeting on that. Staffing update, the fire department currently has 3 individuals going through pre-employment process. This leaves the department with looking at filling the next couple, they're hoping to fill in the next couple of months. And just a reminder, there is a burn ban in the city of Aberdeen, as well as many other jurisdictions, just because of the increased fire danger in our region. And from the Aberdeen Police Department, they provided us with some information related to the statistics gathered for fireworks complaints. And there's a little graph put together from the years 2018 to 2023. So for 2023, they had 42 calls compared to 46 in 2022. So it's the highest number was in 2021 at 81. So kind of interesting information I can share with the rest of the council if they'd like. And then Saturday night, there was an incident with a highly intoxicated subject who caused a lot of damage, and working, hopefully, he's booked at the Aberdeen jail right now. Hopefully be able to prosecute that. And they have 2 police officers in the Basic Law Enforcement Academy, and backgrounds are still in progress for 2 additional offers. So. And we have a couple of items on the agenda tonight. So we have a report, a request from Public Safety and the Fire Chief recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign the MOU for fire suppression services between the City of Aberdeen and the City of Cosmopolis. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We have a request from Public Safety and the Fire Chief recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to sign the EMS services agreement between the City of Aberdeen and the City of Cosmopolis. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And then under ordinances, this is the 3rd and final reading of Bill number 23-06, an ordinance amending the Aberdeen Municipal Code 10.20.280, updating the fine amounts for various parking violations. I move we pass this ordinance.
Motion was made and seconded to approve the 3rd reading of this ordinance. Let's roll call vote, please.
Discussion?
Oh, is there any discussion? Thank you. No. Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
So this is for the 3rd and final passage of Bill number 2306, an ordinance amending AMC 10.20.280, updating the fine amounts for various parking violations. Ellis.
Yes.
Francie.
Yes.
Gaken.
Yes.
Catchman.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Pericini.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Sedor.
Yes.
And Mr. Taylor is absent. So that was a unanimous vote with all council members voting. This will be ordinance 6696.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that's it for public safety.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Public Works, Chair report by Councilmember Shaw.
We have a public hearing tonight, bill number 2310, an ordinance relating to the electrical code amending section 15.36.040 of the Aberdeen Municipal Code. I move we open the public hearing.
Motion was made, seconded to open the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to speak on this, please come up to the podium and identify yourself and discuss this, speak on this. Seeing none?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second. Motion was made and seconded to close the public hearing. All, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed.
Under reports, there is a request from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to execute the contract with Rodman's for the A Street and I Street construction project. I move we approve this report.
Second. Motion was made and seconded to approve this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We have a second report, a request from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the City Council authorize the mayor to execute amendment number 2 to the on-call agreement with HDR Incorporated to extend the effective date until December 31st, 2023. I move we approve this report.
Second. Motion was made and seconded to approve this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Under ordinances, Public Works has the second reading of bill number 2310, an ordinance relating to the electrical code amending section 15.36.040 of the Aberdeen Municipal Code. I move we approve the second reading. Passed it, I think.
Second. Motion was made and seconded to approve the second reading. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes the second reading.
She wants to suspend the
No,
rule.
I just wanted to pass it to the third. Yeah, sorry. So I probably missed one.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to special committee items.
We could though.
I was gonna say, I was
Yeah,
Oops.
well, why not? I
Go for
move
it.
that we consider the second reading, the third and place and final passage ordinance bill number 2310.
Second. Motion was made and seconded to suspend the rules and place the second reading into final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote, please.
Such a controversial topic.
Okay, hold on for a second here. So this is
Third reading.
third reading of bill number 23-10, an ordinance relating to the electrical code amending section 15.36.040 of the Aberdeen Municipal Code. Ellis.
Point of order, now that you said that, I think we need to approve suspending the rules and then approve the third reading. Is that correct?
No, it's all.
Never
it's all one
mind.
motion.
All one motion.
Thank you, though.
Hey, Ellis.
Yes.
Francie.
Yes.
Gakin.
Yes.
Cashman.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Pericini.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Seedorf.
Yes.
And Melvin Taylor is absent. So this will be now ordinance 6697.
Thank you. Moving on now to special committee items.
Yes, since Councilmember Morrison was working on bill number 2311, I'm going to ask her to leave the public hearing and the second reading, if you want to.
I move we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to open the public hearing on an ordinance to amend the Aberdeen Municipal Code relating to increasing the notice period prior to substantial rate increases. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to speak on this subject, please come up to the podium and identify yourself.
Mr. Mayor, Aberdeen City Council representatives, and the public. I'm Carolyn Hardy, Secretary of the Leisure Manor Tenants Association. I've been a proud resident of Aberdeen my entire life, born, raised, and worked in this community for 72 years. And now I'm a very proud member of this community. At this point, I live in Ward 1. We appreciate the time and attention you have paid to Leisure Manor Tenants Association. Their issues the past couple of months. You have heard a lot of our personal business and how the sale of Leisure Manor to Hearst & Sons LLC has affected our lives. Now is the time to put into place this ordinance that will protect our residents, your Aberdeen City citizens who are all registered voters. We were hoping for 180 days advance notice, but we're happy to accept any additional extra time you feel you can give us. When we realize we can't afford to live in our forever home any longer due to economic eviction, we must find means to find a new affordable home and try and sell our forever home. Section 8 has 2 to 3 years waiting list. Finding a new residence will take time and will be difficult. We must pack and or get rid of many years of memories, household items, and furniture. Remember, our bodies are not the bodies of the youth. And just thinking about this will be very overwhelming and physically draining. With the added worry of housing and how we will avoid becoming one of the unhoused homeless, this small amount of extra time and the maximum fine for late rent at 1.5% of the monthly rent may make an enormous difference to a senior citizen's day today. Thank you for considering all aspects of our ordinance. We absolutely support it and need your support as well. When the time comes for the final vote, please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Bill Hardy, and I live in the same house as Carolyn Hardy, over in Leisure Manor, Ward 1. And I don't know how many of you were watching Channel 5 News last night about some of the things that are going on elsewhere in the state with the rent increases. What really surprised me was the report from a mobile home park in Vancouver, Washington, where their rent's gone up big time. But the reporter from the Portland station pointed out that last year, or this past year, the Oregon legislature went ahead and put a 10% limit on how much the rent can go up. Now, that is the jurisdiction of the Washington State Legislature, which adjourned this year without even bringing the bill to the floor of the House for a vote, because there was a lot of things going against it at that point on various sides. So I recognize that this city council has no jurisdiction on how much the rents can be raised. There is nothing in Washington state law that prohibits it from going up as far as they want it to go. And hopefully some of the people in this room will get a hold of the people in Olympia, the people in the House of Representatives and the state Senate, and say, we need these limitations. We need stabilization and fairness. And I hope that you will be willing to talk to the people who you elect and get them to understand that economic stabilization really needs to happen. But I'm very appreciative of our city administrator, Ruth, and also the the corporate council for going ahead and working with something that will pass muster with the state, giving us at least 120 days for now, if we can't get more later on, And the big thing is that those penalizing late fees, you're 1 day late with your rent, $65 penalty, and it would be limited to only about $10 under this bill as a percentage of the monthly rate. So this is a good bill. I fully support it, and I hope you will all do the same. Those of us, including the people who are here tonight, and those who couldn't get here because many of them are housebound, they will really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Judy Short. I live in Leisure Manor and have for 5 years. Previously, my mother and my younger sister lived in Leisure Manor 42 years ago. That park, by the way, is celebrating its 50th year this year. We should have a party. I'm not going to tell you a sad story or anything. As Bill alluded to, Washington State has set a real trap for people, particularly renters and renters in mobile home parks. Washington State has an RCW 35 21 830. Rent control in the state of Washington is illegal. So businesses from out of this state, corporations, come in and buy up everything they can because they can raise the rent as high as they would like. There's no limit. Little mobile home park in Forks rents $350. Well, not anymore. It's $1,000 a month now. And there's no way to stop it. The state of Washington is playing a big part in making a huge homeless population that small municipalities have to deal with. We really need to address this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
City Council people, David Wilson, retired RN, 77 years old. I echo everything people in my living community have said, and the other additional mobile home parks. I know that there's requirements for potholes to be fixed. Every election we have potholes and bridges get fixed. Well, being private property, the road probably can be used as an excuse as private property. I'm disappointed, and I'm thinking, and I'll show some of my age. I believe it was Michael Jackson's sister who sang a song. What have you done for me lately? You know, some of you less gray haired than I am, and guys too. I really accentuate the amount of people that are going to be coming into our support system to catch elderly, people that are getting older. Our hospital is needing help, and our people underneath the bridge are needing help. What have you done for them? What have you done for me? What have you done for the people in this? And it's on your shoulders. Ruth, I appreciate you meeting with us and talking with us and seeing that we're getting support. I've been very disappointed in what I've seen as far as the interest in people that are fixed income. We are shown to be second and third rate citizens, and we aren't. I've been a registered nurse for many, many years, taking care of a lot of your clients, a lot of your patrons, and we're not getting help. And I don't know that we're going to have it. You know, to have people living on the street, living in Walmart push carts, that's a shame. That's really a shame. And for us to do something about it, what have you done for them? And what have you done for yourselves? Because you're going to be in the same exact place. I'm retired 7 years now. I don't have any more money that I can pull out of my pocket. I don't. And that was just a very small $350 to $1,000. That's over 30% increase, or 300% increase. How many of you could have that sustained through not just now, but each and every month, Costs a lot of money to live here, and sorry, folks, something needs to be done, and now. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I know I did speak before, but for the people that are that need a place to stay, okay? The park that I'm in, Boulevard Mobile Home Park, is a horrible slum place. And for a new person to move in, he is charging them $5,000 to move in. I know this because many of the people come to me and CAP pays for all of that. Brad calls them up and tells them this is what they have. So within a couple of months, these dilapidated places, they are not pristine, they are not at all, and they're being charged, the guy across from me is paying $1,095. Several other people have moved in and are paying $2,000 a month, and these places are not, like I said, pristine, they're not new. They've complained about things that are broken down. I just got through fixing a floor that the guy who's paying $1,095 for, his bathroom floor when he moved in, the toilet was leaking. I just got replaced the toilet and replaced the floor, and I'm having to put in place a sink because doesn't have any cold water. So, and this guy knows that he can charge whatever he wants. So who can afford a $5,000 down payment to move in plus $2,000 rent? I can't. If I have to move out, I'm up the creek. I'm retired. My husband is 85 years old. He can't work. He can't hear. He can't barely see, and he has dementia. And I had to go back to work at 74 years old so that I could help pay my rent. So we need this ordinance. We need it to stop.
Thank you.
I thank you for your time, and I hope you support it.
I'll be short. You can make it. I'll be short. Bill and I have done Johnny Manson's show, and a couple of the landlords have called in and said, well, you just didn't plan hard enough when you were working. You didn't do enough to save your money. And I want to let you know that even if we started in the 70s saving our money, it isn't as valuable today as it was back then. And all the money that we saved is, it's being used and eaten up by, now I hate to say inflation because it's not really anybody's fault. We had a pandemic. But the rent situation is just eating us alive. And it's not our fault, but a lot of people want to say, you guys didn't say, you guys didn't plan. And they're trying to put it back on us. We had one person say, we asked them, where do you expect the people to go that can't pay the rent that you're willing to charge? And they said, that's not our responsibility. We don't care, because we want to move people in who can afford that amount of rent. So they're trying actually to push some people out, and they don't care where they go. As long as they can move in people that have the money, that's all they care about. And that's, you know, we did that on the radio station, and we both sat there in unbelievable, you know, it was like, what are they saying? You know, where is the compassion and the empathy these days? It hasn't gone to the landlords, that is for certain. And thank you so much for letting us speak and considering this ordinance.
Hey, thank you.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing, motion has been made and seconded to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the second reading of Bill 23-11.
Second.
Okay, I'm looking for, oh, there it is. Motion was made and seconded to approve the second reading of bill number 23-11. Is there any discussion? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The second reading has been approved.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to suspend the rules and place Bill 23-11 final passage.
Motion was made and seconded to suspend the rules and place, consider the second reading, the third, and placed in the final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote, please.
All right. So this is a roll call vote, suspending the rules, moving the second reading to the third of bill number 23-11, an ordinance amending chapter 506 of the Aberdeen Municipal Code relating to increasing the notice period prior to substantial rent increases. Ellis.
Yes.
Francie.
Yes.
Gaken.
Yes.
Catchman.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Pericini.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Sedor.
Yes.
Melvin Taylor is absent. This passed with all council members voting in favor, and it will be now ordinance 6698.
Thank you.
Ready for our second public hearing?
Okay.
All right, second public hearing tonight is for bill number 23-12, an ordinance amending Aberdeen City Zoning Code, chapter 17.24. I move that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to open the public hearing. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to testify on this ordinance is come up to the podium and speak.
There's nobody on Zoom.
I move we close the public.
There are, but no hands are up.
Okay. Move we close the public hearing then.
Second.
Councilmember Cedar made the motion prior to you.
Give them the credit for it then.
So,
I have no ego in it.
just got to keep the record straight. Councilmember Cedar and Councilmember Pericini. Motion was made and seconded to close public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passed.
And Next, for special agenda items under reports is a request from the Parks and Recreation Director recommending that the city council assess the listed donation items into the museum collection. I move that we approve this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to approve this report. Is there any discussion?
I just had a question.
Okay.
I was wondering if the museum board had a policy about what they typically accept.
They do.
Okay.
They do, and they scrutinize it pretty thoroughly before they make a request.
Perfect.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Mr. Mayor, I have a point of order.
Yes.
I have a question. We just voted on having a public hearing. We closed it. There was no public hearing. But then don't we vote on passing the amendment for the ordinance?
Yeah, it's 3B.
It was just out of order.
Yeah.
When we get there, we'll have already done it.
Yeah, I got I don't know how this happened this way.
I'm a little confused. All right.
Public hearings, then reports.
Okay,
Then ordinance.
motion was made and seconded to approve, where were we?
Yeah.
The museum items.
I thought we already voted on that. Maybe not. Okay.
The donated museum items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, grief.
All right, now is for the zoning code. So this is the second reading of Bill 2312, an ordinance amending Aberdeen City Zoning Code, Chapter 17.24. I move that we approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to approve the second reading. Any discussion? Under discussion, Councilmember Shaw.
I just want to clarify for anybody listening to all the back and forth that this is an ordinance that will enable PAWS to move to a new location. The current zone did not allow for a animal shelter.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I'd like to move that we suspend the rules and move this to the third reading.
Second.
Motion was made and second to suspend the rules and consider the second reading, the third, placed into final passage. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Roll call.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all are killing me tonight.
You know, you got, man,
You've been doing so well tonight.
where's Will? You come up here and do this, Will?
Okay, so this is for, let me make sure I got this right. This is for the third and final reading of Bill 23-12, an ordinance amending Aberdeen City Zoning Code, Chapter 1724, allowing kennels as a permitted use within the major institutional zone. Ellis.
Yes.
Francie.
Yes.
Gakin.
Yes.
Catchman.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Pericini.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Sedor.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor is absent. This will be ordinance 6699.
Thank you.
And now we have third reading and final passage of Bill 2307.
That makes it easier.
Which is an ordinance establishing a new chapter in Aberdeen Municipal Code 15.40 related to maintenance of vacant commercial buildings in downtown Aberdeen. I move that we pass the third reading and place this bill in final passage.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to pass the third reading on bill number 2307. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Under discussion, go ahead.
In looking at general minimum maintenance requirements, I would like to propose adding section F, which currently reads, maintain all exterior walls free from moss, algae, dirt, grime, holes, breaks, and loose or decaying materials. to add graffiti to that list.
I will second that.
And I know we have, we have graffiti addressed in a nuisance ordinance maybe, but I think it's helpful to add it to this, just so that everything's all in one place for property owners who are looking at what maintenance requirements they have to meet.
Okay,
Is this the best place to place this, or should it be like an item H in there? I agree, it's nice to have one kind of set of standards.
I think it can fit right in there. It's on the facade. It kind of relates.
Okay.
It's covered in the code already, but it's fine to name it here.
Okay.
So I guess I need to move to amend
yes,
the
proposed ordinance.
proposed ordinance, so that the word graffiti is added to section 15.40.040, item F.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to amend the ordinance. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The word graffiti will be added in.
Move to place in final passage as amended.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to place the ordinance into final passage as amended. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Okay, this roll call vote is for the third reading and final passage of Bill 2307, an ordinance establishing a new chapter of the Aberdeen Municipal Code 1540 related to maintenance of vacant commercial buildings in downtown Aberdeen with an additional amendment. And Ellis,
Yes.
Francie,
Yes.
Gaken,
Yes.
Catchman,
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Pericini,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Sedor.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor is absent. This will be ordinance 6700.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now we're on item D, the third reading and final passage of Bill 2309, which is an ordinance amending Aberdeen Municipal Code 8.08 related to shopping cart containment and retrieval. I move that we accept the third reading and place this bill in final passage.
Second.
Motion was made to adopt the third reading of Bill 23-09. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, or roll call vote, please. Excuse me.
So this will be for the third reading and final passage of Bill 2309, an ordinance amending Aberdeen Municipal Code 8.08 relating to shopping cart containment and retrieval. Ellis.
Yes.
Francie.
Yes.
Gaken.
Yes.
Catchman.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Pericini.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Sedor.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor is absent. This will be ordinance 6701.
Thank you.
We're cranking out the laws tonight. Jeez.
Lots of legislation going on tonight. Okay, there's two more items. So we're going to first talk about our budget workshop and then fireworks. So let's start with the 2024 budget workshop. In our packet is a proposed calendar for budget. How we're proposing, the city's proposing we work through the budget this year with a recommendation for a couple potential nights for budget to set priorities. And then I also spoke to City Administrator Clemens, and we talked it might be good to have a second workshop after the budget is created to present it back to council and allow time for council to do Q&A with department heads. So I believe the first one for setting priorities, there were a couple dates put out there with maybe August 2nd being the best one for that date. I'm still trying to find this in my packet. Okay, here
I'm
it
not
is.
available August 2nd.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second, approving that date.
Yeah. So what was that
The
motion?
proposals for July 19th, August 2nd, or August 16th.
July 19th, there is a council commitment already for a walking tour, I believe.
Yes.
So that leaves the August 2nd, and then what was the other one?
16th, August
And
16th. 16th.
Okay, does council have a preference for either of those two dates, the 2nd or the 16th?
The second is the starting date for the Grace River County Fair, if that impacts your schedule.
You can't be going to the fair when we got city stuff to do.
You could go earlier in the day.
Just bring back, just bring back those, elephant ears.
Cotton candy.
My recommendation would be the 2nd, because it's going to allow the city the most time to plan once council sets some priorities. So I'll put the 2nd out there as a motion for the first one.
Second.
Okay, motion was made, seconded to approve August 2nd for a budget workshop. Is there any further discussion?
What,
Under discussion, go ahead.
what's our planned timing on that? Is like a 2-hour city council meeting or something more or less? or-
Hopefully less. My goal for this particular workshop is to understand what your priorities are as a council. I will go over the vision and the mission and the strategic goals of the council once again, just so that you can kind of get a sense of, be reminded as a refresher. As we're building our budgets, I'd like the directors to be able to hear as they are building their budgets, I've given them a month to build their budgets. So as they're doing that, they will keep in mind what your priorities are as well.
Thank you.
What time of day?
Yeah.
What time would it be?
Oh, I mean, we could use the regular scheduled time for council meetings
Okay.
as well.
6:30 to 8:30?
Then would it be a horrible idea to do it the same day as the walking tour, since we're all gonna be downtown and getting here right about that time? After the walking tour is about an hour and a half, we'll be starting at 5. So we get there at 6:30, then we'd all be able to make it a long day where we do the walking tour and the workshop on the same day.
I
Since we're all
believe
gonna be
the-
downtown and gathered anyway.
Yeah, the walking tour goes from 5 to 7.
Oh, 5 to 7.
Yeah.
We can start half an hour. We start at the old time that we used to do for years. Here's the 7:15.
Yeah, you-
just for the workshop.
No.
No, you don't want to.
No.
That was a good discussion point, though.
It works for
If you're
me.
supplying pizza, we'll do it.
Pizza?
It's like I went from work to dinner.
This will also be set up as a Zoom meeting for anyone that needs to call in remotely. I know I have to Zoom in. Can't do it. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't want to do that either.
We'll record it.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is for August 2nd at 6:30 to be a workshop, for budget workshop. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No. Just because I can't be there.
That is the day after National Night Out too, though.
The motion carries.
And we previously used to have a workshop after the budget came out so that council could have Q&A time and receive additional information about what department heads were planning that maybe didn't come up before. So is council interested in having a similar type meeting or workshop for that?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, so that probably would fall in the first week of September. So the Wednesday, maybe the 6th, I think, of September 6th, because by that point, the mayor and I will have reviewed and revised the budgets with the directors.
Can we suggest either that date or whatever other dates, but not actually decide on it tonight? Wait till the next council meeting to decide? Because I got to look at the calendar and see if any other conflicts exist.
We could always schedule it and somebody can make a motion to change it later.
That's true too.
Do we want to do that?
Yep.
Okay. It doesn't have to be on a Wednesday either, so.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to schedule a second workshop for September 6th at 6:30 right here.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to schedule another workshop for September 6th at 6:30. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, last item on the agenda is an item that we added related to fireworks discussion. And I know this year, maybe particularly for, within the city, there seemed to be a lot of fireworks and complaints that several council members had received from people. Also a lot of chatter on social media about fireworks. So I wanted to hand it over to Councilmember Sedor because he did a little bit of research, worked with department heads, and maybe had a few ideas for council to consider. So go ahead.
Thank you, appreciate it. This is not intended or expected to be a panacea and solve all problems, but I bounced the idea off of some different ideas off of people, talked it through, thought it through, talked to neighbors, and came up with some ideas about possibly making some tweaks to our fireworks ordinance. One thing I noticed is the ordinance really only addresses misdemeanors, and especially pertinent to if you're transporting illegal fireworks or buying and selling illegal fireworks. Well, that's not really the biggest issue that we deal with. It's really more of a noise issue, especially very late at night. I know I didn't get to sleep until after 1 a.m. on what would have been then July 5th because of the noise that was made from so many fireworks going off, very loud fireworks. I met with Chief Green. I appreciated his time, bounced some ideas around, and I thought, we might want to consider looking into ways to maybe issue infractions like giving a ticket, like you would a parking ticket, if someone was setting off loud fireworks after a certain period of time. My proposal that I've outlined here is $250 after 11 p.m. and $500 after midnight. You're not going to obviously catch everybody. Hopefully, if you do catch a few, might pay for some of the time for the officers that we might need to bring extra officers on to patrol certain areas of the city. We're not going to be able to patrol the whole city, most likely. And also, one of the things to do is we have to find out if City Administrator Ruth Clemens could investigate. Right now, I guess most of our traffic tickets infraction money goes to the state, not to us. And so it might be good to look and see if we can keep most of that money. The general purpose tonight of this discussion is to hopefully get the council to approve letting the city administrator and any other staff that might be involved or interested to do a little research on, maybe looking into these things or some other things that we could do to help mitigate to some degree some of the issues involving fireworks. So.
Councilmember Ellis.
Councilmember Cedar, do you envision that this would cover all types of fireworks or just certain types?
Well, as I kind of put out in my notes, right now the current ordinance allows fireworks to be set off until midnight of July 4th. My view is that, you could still set off fireworks to midnight if it is the type of firework like that sets off just a light or like a fountain or sparklers or something. But if it makes a sound, if it makes a boom, bang, loud pop, then you'd have to stop by 11 p.m. And, I'm not trying to get rid of all fireworks. I'm not even trying to make noise. Just, you've got to realize people have to get some. I worked the next morning. I was hearing from my neighbors who were saying some of them were up until 2 or 3 in the morning. They had to get up at 5 o'clock to go to work. So try to get people to be a little more considerate by telling them, hey, if you get caught doing this and you may not have to actually, police may not have to actually see them light it, just by the preponderance of the evidence, it may be enough to issue them an infraction ticket and make it go up after midnight. So.
Councilmember Katzman.
Just to provide the council with a little bit of data, Chief Green had put together complaint calls. This year there were 42 complaint calls related to fireworks. It's actually down from prior years. It seems to have spiked during the pandemic and has now gone down a little bit. So compared to 2022 was 46 and back in 2018 was 38. There's also been a lot of education or stuff on social media asking that we do not jam up the lines of 911 making fireworks complaints to save room for people that have real, true emergencies. But there is a lot of frustration from community members. But at the same time, looking at the other side of it, this is a community holiday. It's one of the biggest holidays of the year. A lot of neighbors get together and have barbecues. So it's difficult to discourage that. I think the fee amounts are maybe a little bit high. In talking to Chief Green, I understand that a police officer would have to witness somebody lighting off fireworks in order to take action, which would be difficult for officers to do and probably time consuming for them to stand there and look around the corner and have them light things off. But I think maybe some work around education for fireworks, not citations initially, but just better enforcement of our law and looking through, is midnight the right time and things like that.
I'd like to respond to some of those points.
You go ahead.
And I appreciate it. This is my own personal viewpoint. My viewpoint is the people who are setting off really loud fireworks late at night, I mean, after midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not going to be educated. They don't care. They're selfish. They're inconsiderate. They don't care about their neighbors. They want to have their fun. They want to have a party. I'm not saying don't let off fireworks. I'm just saying let's make it so, you know, try to be a little considerate. Yes, we can try to educate people, but also with the education say there's going to be a hammer. And if you do happen to get caught, and Chief Green, correct me, but I understood from our discussion that you wouldn't necessarily have to actually witness them lighting it, but by a preponderance of the evidence, if it looks pretty obvious that, yeah, you're the one standing here and all these fireworks, you know, debris is here, you're more than likely the one who's done it, I'm gonna issue you a ticket.
Currently, our ordinance is a misdemeanor, so that means that it's not a misdemeanor presence rule, so we would have to witness that. However, if it was an infraction, that's a lower level. So that's what you're referring to. Yeah.
And to make it hurt so that they really have to think about it, especially if they know in advance, but also if they do it and they get caught once, maybe the next year they're saying, well, you know, I don't want to do that again and get fined again. So just some ideas I thought through, I wanted to kick out, but I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Councilmember Morrison.
I actually just wanted to say I agree with Katie. I prefer to see more education and not citations. And I completely sympathize with your concerns, Councilmember Cedar. And you put a lot of work into this, which I also really appreciate. But I have concerns that this is not enforceable. And I have concerns that your hammer is a little heavy-handed.
That was the intent.
Anyone else? Councilmember Shaw, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, this is a really interesting conversation for me because I had somebody reach out to me and my response was, in my neighborhood, it was one of the lightest years I can remember on record in 30-some years of living in the West End. It was the first year I wasn't angry. And I was so mad a couple of years ago that when people came here wanting a ban, I was ready to do it. So I think that it's kind of like
should have been in my neighborhood.
Exactly. So here, you know, I'm in favor of exploring this more to see what we can do because I have vivid recollections of the years when I was miserable. And it is about respect and following the rules, and it's the illegal fireworks that somehow, you know, I think late at night, those are easier to find, those miscreants, and because I think we should keep looking at this.
Okay.
I move that we refer this to a committee. Does someone
Public
have a
safety.
recommendation on a committee?
Public Safety Committee.
I move that we refer this to public safety.
Second that.
Motion is made and seconded to refer this issue to Public Safety Committee. Is there any further discussion on that? Councilmember Ellis?
Yeah, I just wanted to recall that it was back in, I think, 2022.
Last year, public safety did address this, and but I'm willing to, if we can get some help from Ruth doing some research and maybe talking to our corporation counsel and see what other options there might be.
Okay,
We can look at it again.
And if we could also tie in, that people need to clean up their messes.
oh boy.
But Councilmember Sedor's point is perhaps bigger than just fireworks, in that we don't seem to have a Aberdeen noise ordinance that covers when you can make loud noises and when they have to stop. And I know our sleep was interrupted by a lawnmower that sounded like a hovercraft at 11 p.m. one night. And there's nothing that, I mean, I couldn't call the police, there would be nothing that they could do.
We're discussing the motion on the floor to present this to public safety for further discussion.
You could amend it to include
May
noise in general.
May I amend it to?
Super quick point of order, we're coming up on time.
Yes, I'm kind of trying to move it along here.
I'd like to amend the proposal to include also looking into a noise ordinance for everyone.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to amend the motion to send this to public safety for discussion, to include not just fireworks, but just a noise ordinance. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
And the amendment carries. Right?
Yes, absolutely right, sorry.
So now the motion, I wanted to make one last quick final point.
We're almost out of time.
Yep, that's why I want to make it quick. Discussion with Chief Green was that these fireworks, a lot of them now, they're still considered legal fireworks, but they're being packed to the maximum grain powder that you can allow, and they're making a huge noise, big bangs and booms, but they're still considered legal. So even those legal fireworks are an issue.
Okay.
It's municipal code 9.02.040. It talks about disorderly conduct and noises. D and F specifically.
Okay, we'll take a look at that in public safety.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was there a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Yeah.
To refer this to public safety.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Motion carried.
Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion is made, seconded to adjourn. If there's no objections, we are adjourned.
Big noise.
Do you want that?
Good night, everybody.
Ruth, we need new cameras, this is ridiculous.
We should call that outfit that set this up.
My computer, this has been frozen, I can't do anything. I can't even save this. Like, I don't even know what to do.
Yes.
Well, this isn't having anything to do with her, this is what happened to her.
That's what my emphasis was, to try to.
But now we have two cameras that don't work.
Good job, Lisa.
Well, the computer froze. That's why I meant to say.
You still faked it really well, though.
Well, that's why, look at it. This is what it's doing.
Is it the laptop that needs
I think this